I recently had the opportunity to drive 6 new EVs, all back to back over the same 10-mile course, and I've put together a series of quick films which gives you an idea of the initial driving impressions. And today it's the turn of the Hyundai Ioniq 6. Is it indeed ironically chronic, or does it really have 6 appeal? Watch the film and find out. As I've said, I recently had the opportunity to test drive 6 different new EVs back to back over the same 10-mile course. This course took into account 20-mile-an-hour speed limits with speed humps, normal 30 miles an hour, a little bit of 40 mile an hour dual carriageway work, some de-restricted B roads, and some dual carriageway. So they're all taken over the same course. And this series of films really just tells you what I thought of them over the very brief period that I was able to drive the car. I drove each car in exactly the same manner. That is, I drove it as if I owned it myself. I didn't bother to try and push it to the edge of the performance envelope because that's not how I drive. I was trying to get a feel as to, if I owned one of these cars on a daily basis, what would it really be like to live with, and how well does it feel, how well does it drive? So without further ado, let's talk about this Hyundai Ioniq 6. Very much looking forward to getting behind the wheel of the Ioniq 6 because it's got one of the most striking shapes of any car on the market at the moment, and I think it might well polarise opinions, but personally I love it. It isn't a hatchback, it's a conventional boot car, as you can possibly see here. But yeah, it's quite a big car. It's bigger than the normal sort of Model 3 type segment. I think it certainly feels it. And yeah, I mean, you can see from these shots around the interior, it's a very, very spacious car. I mean, when I'm in the back of it, the amount of knee room is absolutely massive. It's a very, very nice car to be inside of. And I could see myself, if I was a taxi driver, I could probably very easily see myself trying to have one of these to be driving. So the initial impressions of the car, looking at it on the outside, sitting on the inside, the showroom appeal if you like, were very good. So what was it like once I got it out on the road? Was it a different story? Well, I was really pleasantly surprised with the car. It drove really well, it was quiet, it was refined, it took everything in its stride. It's a big car, but yet even on the twisty road it was quite easy to place. But then again, it's a daily driver is the Model S, and it's smaller than the Model S, so actually it was fine. I had no issues with it at all. The car I actually test drove, as opposed to the one that you saw in the film a little bit earlier, was the bottom end car. It's exactly the same drivetrain as the other ones as far as I'm aware, but it didn't quite have such a luxurious feel inside as the more upmarket one that you saw in the other film. But yeah, it drove really well. The safety aids and things like that were unobtrusive, but were there. I tried it in different modes. In the normal mode, when you put your foot down, it did seem just a little bit, not reluctant, but I don't know, hesitant or whatever, to pick up, and then it would go. But in sports mode, it was there, instant. Possibly a bit too aggressive for me, but it's one of those cars that if you drove it in a normal mode all the time, you'd get very used to how best to get it to move along the road. But overall, yep, I liked it. So in common with the rest of the films in this little series, I've looked at what it would cost you on a PCP. I couldn't actually do it over 48 months without getting a quote from Hyundai. So this is the best I could get on the website. So 36 monthly payments of £574 for the premium, which is the one that I didn't test drive, but the one that is shown in the film, as it were. So it's the leather seats, etc., etc. So it's £574 after you've given a £5,000 deposit over a 36-month period on 10,000 miles a year, which I think actually for this particular car is very nice. It's good. So what's the range like? Because not mentioned. according to the official figures, this two-wheel drive Ioniq 6 will go 361 miles between charges, which of course it won't, because you never drive it down to 0. You very rarely start at 100. So nevertheless, using the same figures as a benchmark, that does give it a very good range. More impressive than that is the fact that it can actually, in theory, charge up to 800 kilowatts an hour. And that is very, very fast. I mean, whoa, stop right there. That's wrong. It will not charge at 800 kilowatts an hour. It's a very confusing situation because for some reason Hyundai talking volts. It will charge at 800 volts per hour, which is give or take 350 kilowatts an hour. It's still very impressive. It's very fast, but nowhere near 800. Why they choose to look at it this way, I don't know. But yeah, very confusing. I don't even think there's any 800 kilowatt hour stations in the UK. There are certainly a few 350 kilowatt hour stations, and this car will definitely take the 350, not a problem. Now, just as a benchmark to that, everyone uses the Tesla Model 3, Model Y as sort of the range slash charge rate benchmarks, and they charge at 250. So this car will charge at 33% faster than the Teslas, which are generally considered to be very good. So yeah, big tick for this car. So would I have one on my drive? Well, yeah, I probably would actually, in a heartbeat. It's a very nice car. Although the price, as you can see here on the PCP, etc., of £47,000 is very competitive, particularly for a car of this size. When you look at the used prices, this is where I would go for one. As you can see here, you've got an Ioniq 6 Premium, 13,000 miles, just over a year old, about 18 months old, 13,000 miles, 27,000. That's where my money would go. I'd buy a late used one of these. So there you have it. I very much like the Ioniq 6. It's definitely got 6 appeal. It's got a good range, it drives well, it's quiet, it's refined, it's hugely spacious inside, and certainly on the used car market, it looks an absolute steal at £27,000, and there's more than one available at that price for cars that have got, you know, under 15,000 miles on the clock and are registered sort of April 2023. Time of recording this is October 2024, so as I say, about 18 months old. There you go. Yep, it's a 10 from Len. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up, share it, tell your mates. You may even want to subscribe to the channel. I don't make anything out of subscribers, and you don't get charged for subscribing to the channel. What it does do is it helps drive the YouTube algorithms. It makes films easier to find for other people. So, yep. Thank you so much for watching, and in the meantime, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Wolfie's Wheels. Bye.